You know you need to do something. You can see it clearly. Maybe it's having a difficult conversation, making a decision about your relationship, or just moving forward in some way. But your body won't let you. You're not lazy. You're not avoiding it because you don't care. This is not a motivation problem. You're in freeze. If you're watching this, you're probably the kind of person who's tried everything. You've read the books, you've done the journaling, you understand your patterns intellectually. But when it comes time to actually take the step, to send the text, to set the boundary, to leave the situation, something stops you. And the worst part, you feel like you're failing at something everyone else seems to do easily. I want you to know nothing is wrong with you. What you're experiencing has a name. It's called the freeze response. And today, I'm going to help you understand why you're stuck. Not so you can force yourself out of it, but so you can work with your nervous system instead of against it. I'm Dr. Hannah. I've spent over 2 decades working with people who feel emotionally stuck, even though they're high functioning and deeply self aware. And what I've seen again and again is this: freeze isn't about weakness, it's about safety. So let's start with what freeze actually is. Most people are familiar with fight or flight. When something threatens us, our nervous system activates. We either confront it or run away. But there's a third response that gets less attention, and it's the one that shows up most often in emotional situations. Freeze. Freeze happens when your nervous system decides that fighting won't work and fleeing isn't an option. So it does the only thing left: it shuts down. It numbs you out. It makes forward movement feel impossible, not because you're weak, but because your body's trying to protect you. And here's what makes freeze so confusing for people like you: it doesn't show up in obviously dangerous situations. It shows up in moments that look safe from the outside. You might freeze when you need to have a conversation that might upset someone. You're about to make a decision that feels final. You know you need to leave a relationship, but you can't seem to do it. You're facing something that might change how others see you. Your rational mind knows these aren't life or death situations, but your nervous system, it's detecting a different kind of threat, a relational threat, an identity threat, a threat to the version of yourself you've built your entire life around. And that's when freeze kicks in. There's a concept in Japanese psychology called Shinrin-yoku, which literally translates to forest bathing. But it's not really about walking in nature. It's about slowing down enough to let your body tell you what it needs. The philosophy behind it is simple. Your body already knows. You don't need to force clarity. You need to create the conditions for clarity to emerge. And that's the exact opposite of what most advice tells you to do when you're stuck. Most advice says, push through, take action, stop overthinking. But that advice doesn't work when you're in freeze, because freeze isn't a thinking problem, it's a nervous system problem, and your nervous system doesn't respond to willpower. It responds to safety. The 3-step process. So here's what actually helps. Not a motivational strategy, not a productivity hack. A 3-step process that works with your nervous system. Step 1, name it without shame. The first step isn't action, it's acknowledgement. When you notice you're stuck, don't judge it. Don't try to fix it yet. Just name it. I'm in freeze right now. That's it. No explanation, no self-criticism, just the fact. Because here's what happens when you name something without shame. Your nervous system starts to settle. It doesn't feel like it's under attack anymore. Not from the outside world, and not from you. Think about it. When you're stuck and you tell yourself, I'm lazy, or I'm a coward, or I should just get over it, what happens? You freeze harder. Because now you're not just dealing with the original threat. You're dealing with the threat of your own judgment. But when you simply say, I'm in freeze, it's neutral. It's not a character flaw. It's a nervous system state. And that small shift, that's where movement begins. Step 2, find what feels safe enough. Once you've named the freeze, The next step is to ask yourself a very specific question. What feels safe enough right now? Not, what should I do? Not, what's the right move? Just, what feels safe enough? Maybe the big conversation isn't safe yet, but is thinking about it for 5 minutes safe? Is writing down what you'd say safe? Is texting a friend to say, I'm thinking about doing this thing safe? You're not looking for the perfect action. You're looking for the smallest step that doesn't trigger more freeze. And here's why this matters. Your nervous system learns through repetition. When you take a tiny step and nothing terrible happens, your system starts to update. It starts to believe that maybe, just maybe, it's safe to move a little further. This is not about pushing yourself. It's about building trust with yourself, with your capacity, with the idea that you can handle what comes next. Step 3, the final step, is the hardest one because it goes against everything we're told. It's this: stop treating slowness like failure. When you're in freeze and you move slowly, or not at all for a while, it's not because you're broken. It's because your nervous system is doing something important. It's processing. It's recalibrating. It's trying to figure out how to move forward without losing the parts of you that need protecting. There's a Japanese concept called ma, which refers to the space between things. In music, it's the silence between notes. In conversation, it's the pause that makes meaning possible. In Western culture, we fill every space. We rush through silence. We treat pauses like they're wasted time. But Ma teaches us that the space itself is part of the process. The stillness isn't empty. It's generative. When you're in freeze, you're in Ma. And that doesn't mean nothing is happening. It means something important is happening beneath the surface. So when you catch yourself thinking, I should be further along by now, I want you to remember, your slowness is not failure. It's intelligence. It's your nervous system's way of saying, not yet, but soon. I need you to hear this clearly. Nothing is wrong with you. Your response makes sense. The fact that you can't just snap out of it doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're human. It means your nervous system is doing exactly what it was designed to do. And here's something else. The people who move through freeze the fastest aren't the ones who push harder. They're the ones who learn to work with their nervous system instead of against it. Now, I want to be clear about something. This video isn't about fixing everything. Today was about understanding, about seeing why you're stuck in a way that doesn't make you wrong. But here's what I didn't cover: what to do when you're ready to take the next step. But you don't know how to do it without forcing yourself back into old patterns, because that's the part most people miss. They get unstuck for a moment, take action, and then immediately fall back into the same freeze, sometimes worse than before. So, in the next video, I'm going to walk you through how to take action from a regulated nervous system, how to move forward without triggering the exact response you're trying to get out of. If this video gave you something to think about, not motivation, just clarity, then subscribe. Because I'm not here to hype you up. I'm here to help you understand yourself in a way that makes change possible. Real change. The kind that doesn't require you to force, fix, or override what you're actually feeling. This is a process, and you don't have to do it alone.